If you'd like to sponsor Still Got Game, give us a call at 773-527-2961 or email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. Hey now, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Still Got Game, episode 505. Still Got Game's official podcast of tooltoplay.com. I am, as always, Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
I am Chris Selden, 007 Selden.
I'm Brian Emmerich, Shadow.
And we're back after a couple weeks off. There was some chaos, some holidays. Were there holidays? Yeah, there may have been. Yeah.
Memorial Day.
There was Memorial Day. There was, I can't remember why we missed that other week, except it was my fault.
I was out of town, so I don't know. That was me, but
I think you had a graduation or something.
You were out of town. I had some basement stuff to deal with. Yep. So, but we're back. It's like we didn't miss an episode, but we did. So just multiple weeks have passed instead of none. So, but why don't we just hop right in the show proper, and we'll jump into things. Once again, we're still potentially looking for an additional co-host. So, like I said, if you want to be part of our host search, which has gone strangely silent since Shadow showed up, like we can have an additional fourth host, so you don't have to not apply anymore. So
they love me. They really love me.
Because Yount has pretty much disappeared off the face of the internet, so
he doesn't respond to anything. No.
So we do need that fourth spot.
Yeah. So
or fifth if Tiff isn't coming back, we need Tiff.
Yeah. So podcast@tooltoplay.com. Send us your resume, your bona fides, a little sample video, whatever you want, and hopefully we can add someone else to our happy family. So, and also want to remind you all, if you're in chat right now and there's something you want us to bring up on the show, feel free to drop it in there, and we'll try to work it into things. So on that, why don't we just jump right in the mailbag for feedback and questions from our last episode. Burned Weed comments. I was instantly disappointed when Selden07 was back to his normal voice last episode. Selden giveth and Selden taketh away. Yes.
Burned Weed. I could say some things, but I'm not going to.
Can't say something nice.
Yeah, I'm the only one that alienates listeners during the mailbag, so be nice. Yes.
I'll try better, Burned. I'll try.
All right. So you can be sick of Selden's voice all you want, but we all have to listen to it. So yeah. All right. Next up, Glinda111 comments. Love the last episode. The addition of Shadow was a nice touch and seemed to take pressure off of Selden007.
Thanks, Glinda.
Yeah, I like the part about Shadow, but I'm not sure if I should take that as a compliment or a backhanded slap in the face to take pressure off me. Was I better under pressure, or was I worse under pressure?
It's so much of the weight of the show rests on your shoulders, Selden. I was just trying to take some of that burden.
Oh, yes. Thanks.
See, when there's only two of us, yeah, it's like I do all my talking because I like to hear myself talk, and then you're like, I should say something now. And then even if I've set you up in a point where you have nothing to say about something, you feel like you have to say something. At least that's the way I read this. I was like, what does he mean? And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that would make sense. So, all right, or she, maybe Glinda's a female. I'm not sure. Could be.
A good witch.
They.
Yes.
We'll go they.
They, yes. Safe. All right. Next up, Paulosaurus Rex asks, what do you guys find most fun about doing a show like yours? What about least? I could
obviously, the most fun is just sitting together each week and, shooting the shit with these guys or, with Tiff. And just going over things and, airing out what we think, what we see, where we're at, just catching up on things. So definitely that's one of the fun parts of it. The least I hate about it is the pay.
Nice. All right.
I know you're new to the show, but what do you think so far?
It's only done the one episode, but I enjoy. I mean, in general, at least on the Discord, I enjoy hanging with you guys and discussing games. I don't play online a lot anymore with people, at least on mics. So it's nice to be able to discuss just the gaming atmosphere, what's going on in the world with gaming and hanging. I mean, I just like talking to people. So it's been enjoyable, the one episode I've done. And so far, this one's going great.
Nice.
So like that. Lise, I would say Yount.
Yeah. Wow. Yount is a
Wow. The gauntlet is thrown. Yes.
I haven't met him, so
this is true.
I guess that's the least. I'm not going to Tiff's great.
Excellent. I'll let her know. Well, for me, I think part of what I find the most fun is like you guys said, that sitting down and being able to talk to people. It's almost like we're just talking about shit, but we happen to be on camera and being recorded. Which is, I do like my soapbox, and I like people to listen to me, and it's probably some sort of ego problem. It can be analyzed for something. I'm not sure what.
Let's delve into this. Let's get deeper.
You don't have an ego problem. Don't worry about it.
Thanks. I appreciate it. And probably the least is like when it's the day of the show and then it's lunchtime and I'm like, fuck, I gotta make an outline. Like the outline is my least favorite. And back in the day, it was nice because way back in the Code Monkey era, at least at the beginning, I used to create the shell of the outline. I'd add in the comments because I had access to all the socials. And then Code would actually fill in the news stories. And the only news story I would fill in was the what the fuck. So that was pretty easy at that time. And then once I started doing it with these slackers, they're like, they just want to show up on you don't qualify under these slackers yet, Shadow. This is the modern generation of the show. People just want to show up and have a ready outline to go with. And so it's a lot of work. So, but that's probably my least favorite. And then as like an honorable mention, my second favorite or way up there is when we get a negative comment, and I will always put those in the show because like that's my favorite, when someone finally has the balls to be like, what the fuck, you guys don't know what you're talking about, and that definitely makes the show, and then it always adds to some good discussion. So
well, then people are listening.
Well, that's true too. Yes, yeah. At least people are trying it out and they're like, I don't like this, but I'm going to let them know.
Made the effort.
Yep, exactly. All right. And last but certainly not least, Altius asks, what do you see as the future of AI as it relates to video games? What would you like to see?
Now, this is an interesting topic because like I actually watched a video on somebody that programmed a game through AI. Like he started laying out the steps of like what he wants to see in the game, and then he said, what kind of music he wants in the game, and then he got to test what it came out with, and then he's like, no, let's go back and tweak it. I want the jump to be higher, so increase the jump by 0.6 or whatever he said. And so it was kind of interesting seeing how the guy was using AI to actually program. I mean, it came out like an old TI-49 game. But it was interesting to see the steps that he was able to use AI to program a game going forward. So AI actually, I mean, it has the potential, if it has the learning capabilities to get up to the point where, current developers are. I mean, it could absolutely help fill in those areas that, the humans aren't able to do or don't want to get around to coding that part of the game or whatever. Like they may be able to throw it to AI and say, hey, code this,
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how it is going forward. I mean, I don't want to take things away from developers and everything and just make it all AI, but there is a possibility that this could happen. So,
I think it could be good for if people just have writer's block, possibly just give them a jumping off point. Not necessarily just use it word for word verbatim, whatever it spits out, but it can give you a start, like, oh yeah, I hadn't thought about that, or that's something I forgot. If you're putting in, okay, this is a 2 or 3 or sequel or something like that, and throw it all in there, and it goes, oh, this happened, and then you go, oh yeah, I forgot about that little part of that first one. We could expand on that or something. And I know that's kind of controversial as well with writers and such, but it'd be
the writer's strike. That's literally one of the tenets of the writer's strike is they don't want someone to say, hey, here's 500 episodes of Law and Order. Create me 22 new ones.
Right. Yeah,
yes.
and I don't mean the developer to do that, but just the writers as kind of a cheat sheet of some ideas.
Almost like a muse.
They're not going too far with it. Kind of just something to give you a couple ideas to start with.
Yep. So yeah. I read this question different than both of you guys. So I read this more as not for creating games, but I read it for in a roguelike, instead of just being completely random generation of maps, to actually view the way that a player plays and then build maps that are harder for them to progress based on their play style or something to that effect. But
so you're saying the next Fable would be a Fable AI where the AI actually generates the storylines and landscapes and creatures that you
not necessarily the storylines. No, I'm taking the creative out of it, but I'm saying just the procedurally generated maps and everything else would be AI driven and based on what is the most difficult for the player, and try to push that.
Okay, kind of like the director in Left 4 Dead, like that sort of thing, where it just thinks, okay, well they're doing okay, let's throw a bunch of crap at them.
Well, yes, exactly. Throw some shit their way, but doing it in a much more self-thinking way. So, but I like both of you guys' answers as well. So,
yeah. I mean, the other way I was thinking is if this could really open up the world for pirators and crackers, they could be well, take this game, Left 4 Dead 2, and reprogram it to play on Nintendo Switch. Figure out it knows both languages of how to code it, and it just recodes everything, so it works, for whatever platform they want to put it on.
Yeah, your model would need probably a lot more visual part of the learning model, and maybe that's this difference between ChatGPT 3.5 and ChatGPT 4.0. Where the free shit is 3.5, that next learning model is 4.0, the one you pay monthly for, and then there's probably something else in the works that's even more. But all these things use so much power and computing power and everything else that that part gets a little prohibitive. But that would be a much more robust model to be able to build stuff off of.
So what you're saying, Sutton, is you want to get rid of jobs for coders? Is that what you're...
I'm just saying.
I'm just they came at me with the writers thing.
Let's say a development team makes a Last of Us for PlayStation exclusively. They don't bother porting it to PC. They don't bother porting it to Xbox. Somebody could say, go in there, and if they can get past security measures, they could recode the whole game and put it out on those platforms.
Like a rogue.
AI could just go crazy on it, man.
No, there's lots of shit to be worried about. So yes, I think we're all aware of the nuances of AI as well. So, all right, well, great questions and comments, guys, and like I said, if you're in chat and you want to pop another question in there, we'll grab them on the fly during the show. We know how to adapt. We're not creatures of we didn't prepare for that. We can take anything on the fly. We'll do it live. So if you do have anything, give us a call, 773-527-2961, or email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. And on that, why don't we hop on over and what we're playing? Selden, what have you been playing this week?
This week, actually, since the last show, it's been mostly Zelda. I am ass deep in Zelda, and I don't see any way out of it right now. The game is great. I mean, they did a really great job with Zelda. It's phenomenally expansive. It's huge. It's so much to do, so much to explore. And it's just, I'm side questing the hell out of everything and not doing the main quest line. So, just trying to grind up my levels and hearts and, stamina and stuff like that. So enjoying that. When I'm not in the land of Hyrule, I'm running COD and DMZ, of course. The third season's coming to an end within a couple days here, and probably by the time the show gets out, we will be into season 4 of DMZ, and Looking forward to that. Looking for the next battle pass that comes out and any kind of changes they make to the DMZ play style and stuff like that. They are doing a full wipe, similar to what Tarkov does. They're removing all your insured weapons, all your quest lines, anything that you have in your holding boxes. So you're losing all your stash guns, all your stash keys, all your stashed equipment. Going back
shitty.
to basically zero, except for any additional operator slots that you may have purchased through DLC and stuff like that. So
this sounds like you wasted all your time.
That's what it sounds that was one of the greatest things about Tarkov is when they would do a whole reset, because it was just like at some point you finish all the quest lines and you finish gathering all the stuff. It's great to get that refresh to get back to zero. Everybody's back on the same platform, same level, and you just start grinding back up again. So
it sounds so fun. Yeah.
It's like going from Destiny 2 Destiny 1 to Destiny 2.
Yeah. Well, maybe think of Destiny. Yeah, when they raised the level and then all your stuff's worthless and then you gotta
it's like get all your stuff. From like legendaries back to like garbage drops and they're better, and you're like, oh, this makes perfect sense.
This green's better than my legendary I had. My yellow. Like what?
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but no, it refreshes the game, and like the extraction shooters such as that. I think and then you have to regrind everything up. So other than that, played a little bit of Dead Island 2. Solo, I hit the wall where I'm like, this is kind of boring. Solo, it's just the same beating up zombies and stuff like that. I need to get in with you, Derek, and Mike, and run some Dead Island with you guys. But
yes, now we just put that on the back burner. So someday.
All right. So yeah, that's pretty much it at this point. So
Shadow,
what about you?
So I still haven't tried Redfall, and I probably never will. I've been playing Zelda as well, exclusively. Watching all the movies, but mostly if I'm playing anything, it's Zelda, and it's been 3 weeks now? I think it's been out ish, and it's pretty much every night. I probably get $100 in it, I would imagine, maybe more. And I'm kind of where Selden is, just doing all sorts of side quests and doing underground stuff, finding all the map of the depths underground, which is a whole other land down there that mirrors the regular area, and then also the sky. It's crazy.
See, now you just spoiled it. I didn't know there was an underground yet. Oh,
come on.
Son of a bitch.
Come on.
Did you know you could have a house?
I don't even have a house yet. I know you can, but I don't have one. I haven't done a lot of it. I've just mostly I have 2 of the temples done out of 4 or 5 that there are. I don't know. But I've been mostly just doing the map. I like doing that. Kind of like with Assassin's Creed when that was first coming out. I'd go just get all of the eagle jump points as much as I could, and then I would start playing the story. That way, if I wanted to warp anywhere, I'd have that warp point open, and I didn't have to think about what I was doing. I'd just go find the next one, the next one, the next one. So that's what I like doing when I first start playing games. So really, I've done not much with it, but I'm 110 hours probably into it, I'm sure. My son's starting to play it too. He's 9, and I think he did the Fire Temple already, like himself. And I would say when I first heard about this game and I heard it was and I saw it, the graphics and where it was, and I thought, well, it just looks like an expansion. It doesn't look
720p like garbage. Yeah.
Well, other than that, it looked like an expansion, and I thought, well, it's the same land. What more can they do? But I don't even remember Breath of the Wild now. This is the best. It's great. And at first,
I will tell you, like that thing with the whole map thing. It's like, it's great going back into those areas that you don't really remember, but as soon as you're in it, like Gorgon Village and stuff like that, you're like, holy shit, I remember this now. I'm like, oh, that store is going to be over there. I'm like, holy crap. Like, oh my God, that thing's gone. It wasn't there. I was like, so it's kind of like that whole nostalgia thing. It kicks in like as you go through some of these areas that used to be, where you spent a lot of time in the last Zelda, and now they're gone or destroyed or moved or something like that. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I'm glad you have that. I don't as much, just because I played it right when it first came out, and I didn't have a job at the time, so I just ran through it in like 3 months, and I never looked back. I didn't really play in the DLC, so it's been 6 years since I played this game, so I don't remember much of anything. But even so, I'm like, this is all the abilities and stuff. It's just fun. Like I know Derek will never play it, but I do
just
recommend it
can't.
to anybody who has a Switch that is not Derek. You should buy this.
Yeah, I can't. I watch all these reviewers ass kiss it, and it's insane. Like this
I
is
went in
not
skeptical.
this is not God's fucking gift to gaming. It's 720p garbage. No one
I'm
can
not counting
call out
pixels.
Nintendo on this. No one.
I'm not counting pixels. I'm playing on a 135-inch projector, and I think it looks fine. But I mean, people are saying, "Oh, on OLEDs it doesn't look good." And I'm like, "Well, I've never played it on my OLED because I just play it downstairs in the basement and on my projector." But I don't know, man. It's good enough. It's the cell shaded look,
No
so
one
it's
should
not like
want to say it's good enough for a game.
I mean,
like
it's the cell shaded
Smooth.
look.
Come on,
So
Smooth.
it's never.
You're still
it's
playing
never gonna-
Vampire Survivors. I don't want to hear you talk
Yeah,
about
that's true.
graphics.
That's
Yeah, but-
let's talk about yours. You go ahead.
I'll play Vampire Survivors in 8K. I don't care. So,
Can you?
Yeah, well, the TV upsamples it to 8K.
Okay.
It's still 8-bit.
So it uses 15 AIs
Technically,
to
it's
upres
8K.
things. So yes, it's not like the old upresing of just pixel duplication and all that. Like it actually has like a bunch of AIs that do smart upresing to 8K. So. But I, on the other hand, have been playing the shit. Oh, not really the shit. We started Diablo 4. Game's
Nice.
finally out for normal people tomorrow, but if you pre-ordered it, we played for a few days. Love that game. That's fantastic looking. It's a good time. We finished out the main storyline in Dead Island 2. Started to backfill all of the quests that we didn't do, and that game needs a patch. It freezes up. Like the game itself was flawless, and then as soon as we got to end game stuff, like the game freezes all the time. You get your party can't move after someone dies. They don't respawn right. So there's something weird there. And then Vampire Survivors, obviously a good, like, you have a half hour to kill. It's a good game to fill that with. And then last
So,
but
so
not
tell me about
least-
tell me about Vampire Survivors. So I haven't played it.
Okay, so it's a game where all you need is the left stick. And based on which one of the characters in the game that you pick, they all have like a special ability or weapon or whatever that they start with. And then as you move through the game and progress through the levels, you'll find or you'll get a choice to pick between like all these other different weapons or to upgrade your current one. And at any given time, you can hold 6 weapons and 6 power up things, like maybe it accelerates the speed of shots or your the range of things, or and then as long as you know or you have the internet, there's different pairs of those things that can be evolved. So if you have this weapon and this power up and you get them both to max level, then the next time you level up and you get a chance to or find a chest that you've killed a boss, it gives you a chance to evolve that. It happens automatically. So at the start of the game, it's really hard. You'll spend weeks, like you'll see one of the achievements, like get to 15 minutes, and all your games will last like 7 minutes, 8. And then once you get to 15 minutes, like you're like, oh, I'm finally there, because your character's slowly becoming better and better over time. And then once you've got all of the characters unlocked, all the weapons, and you basically go through at that point, and you can play through the full half hour. And there gets to be a point like 25 minutes in where you can walk in the kitchen and get a drink, and your guy's just throwing out all his spells and all kinds of shit's happening, and guys are just dying everywhere, and it's awesome when you get to that point, like where
So you're just walking around and it's shooting for you.
Yes, yeah, it's
Okay.
using like maybe some of the things are like this weapon shoots the closest guy to you, and then like as you level up that weapon, it's like instead of 1 shot you get 2, instead of 2 shots you get 3, or then it starts to accelerate damage or speed or whatever. So each time you level up a weapon, it's becoming better and better. So that's when you get to that 25-minute mark. Everything you have is maxed out, and if you made good choices along the way and you evolve some weapons, it's just fun to feel like a god for a little bit. And
the best way to relate it to a game you may have played in the past is if you remember Smash TV or
Mhm.
Food Fight.
Okay.
Like that type of top down, constantly shooting, running around, avoiding the monsters.
Like a bullet hell, but you're
yes,
top
yeah.
down.
Yep. And it's on Game Pass, I believe still.
Okay.
So you can try it for free and don't get frustrated. Like the first couple days, I was like, how is anyone ever gonna get to a half hour? And then at a half hour, literally these bosses come out that instantly execute you. Unless sometimes if you happen to have like the freeze things skill on and that thing is maxed out, like you might be able to buy yourself like an extra minute, so there's an achievement to get to 31 minutes because there is. And yes, but I've gotten up to 32 minutes and but yeah, no, it's a fun game with a finite time limit, and it's just a no-brainer. You can hop down, sit there and play. And
yeah, if you watch a video, it looks like a phone game. It really does. I mean, like when you break it down, it looks like you could be playing it on your iPhone or your Apple phone or
so Derek
phone.
is concerned with graphics, and yet
yeah, except for this one game of all the games I've ever played, this one gets the pass because the gameplay loop is fucking insane. So
I'd have to pause Zelda to try this though, so I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, you really only need like 3 minutes. It's a shitter game. You could play a whole game on the shitter and have your legs not fall asleep.
I would never play this on my phone. You need it on a big screen. So
you're talking about Diablos.
You could play this on cloud streaming on your phone without a problem. It works just as good as on the big screen.
Okay. And
I heard on Diablo.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say I heard on Diablo 4. I was listening to a podcast today talking about Diablo 4 and how a lot of people were saying, Diablo 3 was too rainbowy and too easy, and that 4 has changed up a lot of stuff where it's a lot harder. Like you can't just pick up potions and have them applied. You have to actually use them and things like that. You want to comment on kind of the difficulty of it?
I feel like it's more reasonable now. I feel like it's not on easy mode, and you do have to pay attention to things. And I'm like, there's points where Tiff and I get overwhelmed, and we're constantly like popping pots and all that. So I feel like they've dialed in a new sweet spot to the game, which is it's creepier. It's it's more demanding of you, and it's not so much on easy mode. But yeah, we'll see how it continues to progress. But the beginning of the game is a lot of overlap with what we did in the preview stuff. So yeah, we'll be cranking through that over the next weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. So
nice. I want to play that and buy that, but I've been playing too much Zelda. I'm like, well, I'll just wait and maybe there will be a sale, but probably not this early. But we'll see. I'll buy it when I have time.
Nice.
But I definitely do. I love Diablo 3. It's great.
Yeah, no, we bought Diablo 3 on, like, we played that across multiple console generations, and then we got the God mode version that came out later on, or Ultimate Edition, Reaper of Souls Edition, something like that. We played that game over multiple generations for years.
Well, you played it on PC or Mac or something, right? I played it on Mac when it came out, and I think you were maybe playing at the time when they had the real money auction house.
No. So that was I did play it on PC, but Tiff and I played on Xbox. So yeah, but yeah, and that was where most of our hours went in. But and then other than that, I played some Fall Guys. Fall Guys is always fun. Little couple-minute rounds. I don't know if either of you guys ever played that, but you should. It's good. It's fun.
I played with you the other night, you and Mike the other night.
Oh, that's right. Yes, yeah.
We ran a little bit.
Yep.
It was entertaining, but it didn't drive me to go back to it again after that.
No, you should. It's good. It's fun. You were at the tail end of our getting sick of Fall Guys thing.
Drunken debauchery.
But yes, you should have come in earlier for that. Yes. No.
You guys were making fun of my fancy suit that I had from beta.
Yes. So, all right. On that, why don't we hop over into new releases? First new release, and this covers since our last episode, some of these are a little older. First new release out in the last couple weeks was Lego 2K Drive, out for the Xbox, the PlayStation, and the PC. This was that Lego driving game, racing game. I had no interest in this, but
it does look interesting, but I think my kids are just beyond the point where it's cool to play those games anymore. and so it's hard to get them into anything Lego to play. But it definitely interests me. I wasn't about to pull the trigger with everything else I got to play right now. So
Yeah, I played the Lego stuff. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's the same type of thing, but the Lego stuff that's on Forza Horizon, that's fun, but it's not the same thing, I'm sure. My son would probably like it, but there's too many games right now, so he would never get around to it.
this one's got a unique mechanic because it combines a lot of different racing styles. It's got cars, boats, and planes, I think. And your vehicle transforms in between each terrain
as you go
as you're racing and stuff like that. So I mean, it does look like it's got like that cool feature of of that going on with the transforming and stuff like that. But it's just too many other things going.
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be nice though. I like Lego stuff.
All right. Fair enough. Next new release out was the critically acclaimed Street Fighter 6 out for the Xbox, the PlayStation, the PC, and fresh minted into arcades. So far, just in Japan arcades, but it'll be coming here too. This game brought up some controversies of its own, where when you looked at their Metacritic reviews, there was like 11 on Xbox that reviewed it and gave it a score, and there was like 55 on PlayStation that gave it a score, which continues to show media bias against Xbox and for PlayStation. But apparently, for all accounts, this game is phenomenal if you're into fighters. So
it looks great. I don't even play fighters.
Yeah, fighters were great back when I was in college, and I could reach over and hit my buddy in the shoulder when he beat me or something like that. But nowadays, it just doesn't. The fighters just don't hold it for me. Remote playing against people and stuff like that, and solo in those games, it's just never been anything that I've looked for. So it's always a social aspect of the game that I like, and if it's not in person, it's not the social I want to play those type of games with. So if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, like a lot of I remember. Not Street Fighter, but in our house when all the kids were young and Tiff and I would play with them, like Injustice, Gods Among Us, and Injustice 2. Those are like fun controller passer. You play with your family and people are talking familial smack, not fuck you, dick face. Or fucking, but it's a different level. That's not
what your family's like. Oh, okay.
Oh no, that's what his family's like. Don't worry.
It's a different level of smack, but yeah, I have no interest in this either. So.
Yeah, it's interesting that you said it's coming to the arcade cabs over in Japan. I mean, it probably will do very well there because it's a different culture. Arcades nowadays, you're not going to have the arcades like you had in the 80s and maybe early 90s with a game like this. In the arcades back in those days, you'd have quarters lined up across the screen. You'd have people sitting around like it was a freaking real cage match going on, cheering and whooping and hollering and stuff like that. Nowadays, I don't think American arcades are anything like that anymore.
Ticket presentation places.
Yeah. So I don't know how well it'll probably fare well in some of the arcades, like like the reversions of the arcade penny up places that are in malls and stuff like that are just like all the old games and stuff like that. It might fare well in one of those, but it's not going to have the same crowd building that it had back in the 80s. I don't think so.
No.
Yep, that's unfortunate. It's mostly just tickets now. You're right at those places. So, I mean, people can play very good-looking video games at home, so they don't really go out to play them.
Yeah, maybe a Dave and Buster's type place, but who knows?
Yeah, there's a place in Chicago called the Galloping Ghost, which is I think it's the biggest arcade in the U.S., and they have everything old and also anything new coming out too. It's crazy, but. Like you'll have Mortal Kombat 1 through like 9 all in a row. So if you like that stuff,
that's kind of how Fun Spot is up in New Hampshire.
There you go.
It has the classic arcade museum, and it's like 5 warehouse-sized buildings all connected to each other. That has every game in history. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I still want to get up to that at some point. So
yeah, fighting games are great. When I was 10, and I was going to play MK2 in the bowling alley by my house, and everyone was sitting there with the cores sitting on the machine ready to play next, and that was great. But that was also 30 years ago, so
it's a different time.
Yep.
There was a Mortal Kombat trailer that was recently released for the next upcoming Mortal Kombat. Freaking awesome looking.
Mortal Kombat 1 for some reason.
It's so
but
those games keep getting better and better too. So All right, so next new release out was Diablo 4. We already talked about it. I have it, you guys don't, but it's fucking baller. So highly recommend.
I'll definitely be picking that up pretty soon, probably when I get time.
That's Xbox and PlayStation and PC.
And that's crossplay, right?
I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that's how most things are launching nowadays. So I would assume so.
Cool.
Next out with this week is MotoGP 23 out for the Xbox, the PlayStation, the Switch, and the PC.
Thank God this game is finally out. I don't give a fuck.
On the Switch.
This is this year's motorcycle racing game that none of us have played probably since the 3 Shitty came out.
Wait, don't 23, doesn't it usually come out the year before? So shouldn't this been out last year? Or am I wrong? Is that just sports games?
Some sports games do that. I'm not sure the MotoGP fans are like,
every year.
This year's game. Yes. Like, as far as I could tell from looking at Wikipedia, like, I feel like there's like a 7-year gap on this game. So, it probably doesn't need an annual release. It's like, and that's,
I don't know. I bet the people who like it would like that.
I don't even think back in the day the Tool the race sub clan
to drive.
Yeah, I don't think they even cared about motorcycle games. I like it's a very subsect of the racing games that play these games. And
this was not on Jay Cotter's playlist. No.
What was that game that came out when it was PS1? It was like a hover motorcycle game. It was like one of the launch titles. Like Moto something, and I just it came to mind.
Yeah,
40 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, I can't put my finger on it, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then the last new release out this week-ish is the System Shock remake out on PC. Shadow's got some involvement in the System Shock world here, so I'll let you talk about this.
Sort of. I backed this thing 7-ish years ago, and it's finally coming out on PC right now, and they're also putting it out on consoles and maybe Mac down the road. I'm not sure, but PC's out. Was out last week, I think. So if you're a backer, you got a key, and it's on Steam, and so if you like the original System Shock, this looks really good. I have not got my key yet because I believe I backed it on the Xbox One. That's how long ago it was. So I will probably get it on Series X whenever that comes out. So,
nice.
But if you have a PC and you like that series, it's out for you.
Excellent. All right. So if you're in chat right now, you want to discuss anything from the show so far, I saw someone drop some comments in here for other possible talking points. Oh, that was you. So the Sony event, it was garbage, hot garbage. But did either of you guys appreciate anything out of that?
As was pointed out after the show very diligently, is that it was very few exclusives for Sony, and a lot of people are pissed about it. So
yeah, there was I hate it when they I understand why they do it, but when they act as though something's an exclusive, but it's not.
Yes.
And obviously, they're not going to put all the other system that's going to be out on. They're just going to say PS5, and you have to go digging, and oh no, it's also coming out for Xbox and Switch or PC or whatever, and or it's PS5 and PC, also Xbox, but we're not going to say that.
Yes.
But Xbox probably does that too, so it's not. I wouldn't fault them for that.
No, Xbox does it a little better though. They do like console exclusive or
yes, that's true.
Game Pass
or timed exclusive.
They say all those the different categories. Whereas Sony's just like exclusive, and you're like, what kind of exclusive? Like exclusively
to
coded
this
by
show,
coders. Yes,
this trailer is exclusive to us.
Yes, yeah. It's exactly what they do. So yes.
And that's kind of what they did. I mean, I was very happy. The one thing I was very happy with was the Alan Wake 2 trailer, which I'm a huge Alan Wake fan, been since 2010. I'm super psyched for it. So that trailer and also gameplay looked great. And that comes out the October 17th. And so I'm super excited for that. I was grateful to see that. I'm sure that I think we're going to see more of that next week at the Xbox.
I would assume so.
E3 stuff, yeah. But it's no longer, having to do with Remedy doesn't have anything exclusive with Microsoft anymore. So I think Sony wanted to show that off at theirs to kind of get a little bit of a dig at
Microsoft to the punch.
Xbox.
Yes,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Now, come Sunday, we have the Microsoft one at I think it's 11 a.m. Pacific time, and then immediately following that, I think is the Starfield one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So a lot of hours of good stuff to watch Sunday afternoon. Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 looked good, but I didn't think it looked like PS5 worthy. Yeah, I mean, if you had the what's the ray tracing version on your PS5 and you used that sort of the frames per second boost, it probably looked similar to that, but it just didn't scream to me next gen. Like it should look a little better or different, I think, than it did. It looked like an expansion for the first game.
Well, I don't think it helps Sony that they don't do it in 4K, their broadcast either.
Yeah, that could be.
Like I know that the Microsoft events, as long as you watch on YouTube this weekend, are going to be in full 4K 60. So, spoilers to everyone. That's the way you want to watch this. Not on Twitch, not on you name it. Just go right to YouTube and watch the live stream there. It's going to be your best quality version. So,
yeah. There was, and I'm blanking on the name of it, but there was a sequel to, not a sequel to, but by I think it's Film School that made A Night in the Woods. That game, they have a new game coming out, and it looks similar. It has some similar looking characters in it, and I'm excited for that. That's coming out, I don't know, next couple months. So that looked great to me, just because I like that game.
Like a jump scare type of game, like
no. It's like, I don't know. It's hard to describe, but it's more of like it's not a fighting. You don't really fight things. You just kind of explore, but it's got a cool like art style to it. Wandering around small towns and stuff. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but you'll have to check it out.
Yeah,
I think that's all I can remember from that. Do you guys?
Yeah, the only other thing that really came out of the Sony was the handheld unit, which was kind of surprising because it seems like Xbox is going the right way with porting this over to platforms that you could choose your platform that you want to do cloud or remote playing on, and you just pick up a backbone or any other device that you could hook onto that and be fine. But Sony has this need to say that they're going to bring a streaming device that you can play your PlayStation games onto their device. It seems like they're just trying to double down on the exclusivity of trying to lock you into their ecosystem and keep pumping out hardware. So
yeah, this reminds me back in the PS3 days of when they sold, I can't remember what it was called, but it was a little box that you hooked to your TV, and it did
PlayStation TV.
Not the one that did streaming TV shows. This was one that you could do the remote play to, but it was the only way to get remote play to your TV. And then eventually they added like a remote play app to Windows and everything else, so you could stream it to that method to your remote devices. But then eventually it was just like, just do it to anything. But yeah, Selden's like, he makes a good point where they're trying to like push their own exclusive hardware when everyone already has a fucking device. They have multiple devices. People have iPads. Selden's the one guy that has some Android devices because he's too cheap. But yeah, like you can already stream to all these things. So why do we need another device? I don't know. It's not like it's like the NVIDIA Shield or any of those things that actually has CPU power to it. This is just a dumb streaming device.
Yeah, I mean it's like having to buy an extra tablet that has controllers on the sides. I don't really understand. And you can only stream it in your house.
Yeah,
you can't stream
it
externally. Yeah. So, and you can stream PS5 games externally over the net, I believe.
Yeah,
on tablets.
Yeah. You can already do all of this. None of this makes any sense.
I don't really understand who it's for, except for people who don't have tablets and they want to play their system. Someone else is using the TV and they want to play their system.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of what they're focused on. And maybe it won't be a big product. Maybe it's very niche. Maybe they're just okay. Well, the people who want this will buy it, and we won't make very many of them, and it's whatever because it doesn't cost them very much because they're Sony and they have the screens already or the controllers already. So who knows?
It actually wouldn't surprise me for a screen that size if that's not their screen. That's probably a Samsung screen they're sourcing. In that size frame. So
I think it's an 8-inch screen is what the specs said that they came out with. So I mean, it's not huge, it's not small, but it's.
I mean, that's not that much bigger than my phone.
Right.
So are these things like 6 point something?
I don't know. I got the Pro, which is what
Pro
is that?
Max, yeah.
Yeah, Pro Max, yeah. So it's 6.5 maybe.
I also have no case.
Inch and a half.
So,
yeah. Nice. I've got it's funny because I have a green case, so you can't see it.
It's invisible. Yes,
it's dark green.
Yeah, I gave up on cases years ago. Like we spend like over $1,000 on a phone, so why not let its sexiness show, right?
Oh, I like it, and I would show it off, but it would slip out of my hands. That's the thing. I need grip.
That's why it was once they went to the thicker sides that I did that. When it used to be the rounded slide out of your hand, throw it across the room version, like I never would have gone caseless, but there's a good edge on the phone now where you can get like a good grip on it. So
plus you can show off that sexy Apple on the back so everybody knows that you have an Apple phone.
Yeah. They know we're not poor. Yeah.
They know
I'm so rich I don't need a case on my Apple phone.
Oh shit! Yes, I don't mind alienating our Android audience. So go find another show. Yeah. All right, on that, why don't we hop over into gaming news? First story: get Windows 11 Pro for 80% off. So this doesn't normally seem like a gaming story, but it sort of is because, like we all game, people that have a Windows PC game on Windows, normally Windows 11 Pro is $200 and you can get it for $40. So this is through, I'm going to actually give you the name of the site because I wasn't going to do this, but, and I'm going to also drop this in the show chat, which will be persistent, so you can get to it later. But this is an authorized Microsoft partner selling at this price. And why can't I find it here?
And we do not have an affiliate link, so we don't have cash back.
Why did I think for some reason Windows is free now? Isn't it mostly free?
Yeah.
At the Pro version. This is the Pro version.
All right. Pro.
Yeah, this is from like if you go to what is this? Oh my god, I hate deals.gamespot.com, you'll find the link there. Retails for $200, home version's $139. This license is $40, so nice. Definitely go there and do it. And I'm dropping it in the show chat, so you'll be able to find it on all of our sources. And pick it up for $40 if you don't already have a license. So really what this boils down to is if you don't have a truly licensed Windows 10 and you're trying to upgrade to Windows 11, they make you have a license. And this is the way to solve that problem. But I've been on Windows 11 since the first betas, and sure, there were some issues early on, but now everything is flawless and fantastic. So highly recommend it.
All right. Next story.
All right, I'll take this one. This ties into a couple things we were talking about so far in the show, but Sony boss warns cloud gaming still technically, quote, very tricky. But it goes through the article. Yoshida Kenichiro Yoshida.
Oh, your Japanese is phenomenal.
Dude, not gonna work here anymore anyway.
I probably probably slaughtered that name, obviously.
Oh, but you certainly did. Yes,
he definitely has high praises for cloud gaming and the possibilities of the marketplace of cloud gaming being a good future to look into. But he does come out and say that I think this is a quote from him. I think cloud gaming itself is an amazing business model, but when it comes to games, the difficulties are high.
for Sony.
For Sony, yeah. I mean, there's obviously a couple people that figured it out. I mean, Google did have theirs for a while. It just didn't. I don't think it was the technical issues that caused them to fail. I think it was their business model and being Google themselves and how they close things down made them fail. Xbox has figured it out pretty well. Steam's got a couple different ways you can, cloud game and stuff like that. So I don't think it's just. I think it's difficult within their environment right now to figure out how to do it. Yeah, I mean, this ties into a lot of what we were saying earlier about cloud gaming is kind of there, and that Sony's just behind the 8 ball right now. They're not in where everybody else is on cloud gaming at this point. So,
yep, I agree.
Yeah, and I mean, yes, you can say it's difficult, and you could. It's just people have figured it out. It may be difficult for you because you don't have the implementation set up yet, but you may eventually. So it's almost it just feels like some dog whistling here a little bit for the whole suit against Microsoft. Like, oh, it's
right.
tough right now.
This probably rolls right into that whole argument because they're afraid. They're afraid if Activision Blizzard goes to Microsoft, because then Microsoft will have cloud streaming rights with it,
and they could too.
Their foot in the door. They're ready to go. They got things running, so they could put Sony in a very off balance position at this point with it. So
yeah, and Sony could too, but just because they haven't figured it out yet doesn't mean it should not let other people do it.
That's true. Yes,
they have all the same rights that Microsoft does to create that thing. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It is interesting because this ties back into our commenter from earlier, but Yoshida said that Sony may use artificial intelligence agent GT Sophie to boost the performance of cloud gaming.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It'll be interesting. So
Yeah.
All
but
right.
next story.
I don't know who's supposed to say it. Next story. Impossible Xbox achievement removed, seemingly by Microsoft. So there's a game called Homestead Arcana that apparently there was an achievement that just couldn't be obtained. So they actually went in and removed it and they allocated the points to other achievements so that it will eventually equal 1,000. Now, people here, except for me, probably don't care about achievements. I care about achievements, or I used to.
I used to until Larry Herb stole the Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 2 one that was B number 1 in the world, which that's more bullshit than when you can't get. It's
because he had early access to the game, right?
Yes,
he was able to get in early. Play it before
that's like else. 1 out of a billion people.
But it made it so at that time that was when achievements were important. You're like, oh, I'm gonna get 1,000 out of 1,000 on every game, and then all of a sudden Graw 2 came out, and you're like, well, now that's not possible. So why even give a shit? So.
Well, apparently achievement removal is extremely rare, is what they say, which is true. I know that. I'm on True Achievements, and I'm big into achievements, or at least I was for a long time. So I think I've got 185,000 gamer score or something like that.
Good on you, Shadow. Yeah,
I'm sitting at 100.
If that makes you feel your EP is big, then you're good. But
I don't have all the Apple devices. I'm sorry, so I have to do something else instead.
We don't have any Apple devices except for phones. I hate Apple computers. I'm not a kiss ass, but I do know this is the sexiest phone on the planet until September, when there's a new sexiest phone on the planet. And then I'll have that one too. So
also true.
But I'm with you, Shadow, and achievements are important to me. I'm sitting at about 125,000 right now.
There you go. Okay.
So Shadow's 60,000 bigger than your peen. That's what you're saying.
But I love the fact that they've always been pretty, fair, I'd say, about how they let achievements be ranked and stuff like that. And I think removing one that's completely impossible is a good move. So.
Yeah, especially early on. I mean, later on they won't remove things where it's like, oh, the servers went down, you can't play online anymore. Sorry, you just can't get the achievements. You should have played it earlier. And I understand that, but when it launches and you just can't get one of them, that's kind of shitty. So I'm glad they fixed that, and I hope that they continue to do that sort of thing. Hopefully, it won't happen very often, but if it does, I think it's a good way to go.
Fair enough.
it annoys me when they do like 1-point achievements and 3-point achievements. I want 5 or 0s. That's
Yeah, well,
I
I had
hate
a-
when they do those odd number ones. I'm like, you motherfuckers! Now I have to play more to get another achievement to equal it out.
Yep. Well, there was an achievement for I think it was Half-Life 2 where it was like score 3 points, score a basket, and it was 3-point achievement. So then I threw everything off forever.
You guys are so weird. But okay, yes, yeah. Yeah,
Even numbers, Derek. Even
They,
numbers.
you see, for most people out there, none of us give a shit. This was a made up number. Like I
Okay,
also
well,
don't
you
give a
got
shit
2
about
out
my
of 3
PlayStation
here, so-
trophies. Yes, I don't care about those either. Like it's like, oh, you got a
I don't
silver
care about
trophy, you
trophies.
got a
They don't have
platinum
numbers.
I don't think anybody's ever cared about PlayStation trophies.
Well, they were an also ran. They were later on. Oh, we're gonna do this too.
trophy. Yes, yeah. They were the copycats. So yep.
Yes.
All right. Is this me next story? Who is this?
Sure,
Yeah.
go for it.
I can't remember where we left off. So, all right. Next story. Razer's new gaming earbuds include a low latency dongle. So, this is the problem that most people have with Bluetooth, and it's the problem that is prevalent in Bluetooth. Is the audio never lines up with your with anything. So in the car, like for example, I have a wireless CarPlay adapter because my car did not have wireless CarPlay. That thing is using some cheap Chinese Bluetooth thing, and there's a 3-second delay from the time I push pause to the time that the actual audio pauses. And this has always been a problem with Bluetooth. I know Bluetooth 5.2 is low latency, but it's still not enough for gaming. So Razer did what like you would expect them to do. That's the reason why Microsoft uses their own audio shit, because Bluetooth Razer packs in this dongle that's way better than Bluetooth, near zero latency, and you can actually use the earbuds to play games, which normally you cannot. So I think this is a good addition to the market. Some people like earbuds. That's why I still go wired to my PC here, because you just can't get. Oh, Selden's the same way. Shadow's like, I'm 3 seconds behind you guys.
Oh, look, he finally smiled.
Yeah. See, it took him 3 seconds to smile, but he's there. I'm
just on a delay. I'm slow.
I think this is a good thing from Razer, though, and I wouldn't be surprised if more companies start doing this, because there are issues with Bluetooth if you want to sell someone something wireless and have them game with it. So
yeah, I use my AirPods with my phone when I game on the Xbox. I just use the app instead of using through the Xbox. So that's what I do now, because I have the surround system, so I don't use headphones anymore because I don't really need it. But I don't know if it's better or worse or what, but it seems to match up pretty well. I don't know. I like
if your eyes are slow, it works. Yeah. But
all right.
But good stuff from Razer. So, all right, next story.
All right, I'll take this one. I'm going to call this one the what the fuck story of the week. We have a man that allegedly used a Nintendo Duck Hunt gun to rob a convenience store. The police has been caught the police say they have the suspect in custody at this point. Apparently, the South Carolina man, no comments on the people of the South, have allegedly robbed a convenience store armed with a Nintendo light gun, primarily used, as we all know, in the 1980s with games such as Duck Hunt. Apparently, he went into the store with a wig and a hat and a mask and all this other fun stuff, and the light gun from the 1980s Duck Hunt game, and was waving it around nonetheless in front of the cashier, and robbed approximately $300 worth of cash and maybe something else, who knows.
All right, but we all remember this gun, right?
Oh
yeah.
It doesn't look anything like an actual gun.
But if you look at the image, it looks like he actually painted it black.
So I did not see. So okay, yeah.
So if you see the image, it was painted black. But it still has the orange trigger on it from the game, and I'm sure it still has the big plate of glass in the barrel.
Yeah,
the orange barrel. Yeah.
I'm like, but with modern day, 3D printed guns out there, maybe the cashier was like, "Oh shit, this may be a real gun or not." But the fact that he still had this gun and then he robbed the convenience store with it is like, what the fuck?
The gun was almost probably worth more than the $300 if it was working and he could have sold it.
Yeah, I just found that hilarious when I saw the story. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. This really?
It's pretty fucked up. But yeah, sometimes you need $300.
Sometimes. Next story.
Did the light gun originally have like a cord that went to the
sorry,
Nintendo?
Yeah, it's always been corded. Yes.
Well, he probably cut it off.
Okay. I'm like, could you imagine if he just had that dangling down at the bottom as he's waving it around?
Selden is giving this guy less credit than he deserves. Like,
Put it
I would hope he cut that off. Yes, yeah. But he's like, I don't want to ruin my gun. Like, I'm gonna tuck it in. Yeah.
I'm gonna use this when I get home later.
Yeah, that's the shadow tuck. Like, tuck it under the sleeve and done. Yes. All right, next story.
Spider-Man 2 on PS5 will let you swap between Peter and Miles with the push of a button. Yeah. So the gameplay they showed last week, people were wondering how you would swap between them because you can play both. And I guess you could just do it immediately, which is pretty cool when you're playing the main story. It sounds kind of like how they used, people were worried about there being load times and what have you, but I guess with the PS5, the way they've coded it, you can do it pretty much instantly, which is pretty cool. It's kind of like people were talking about Ratchet and Clank when that first came out. PS5 when it launched.
Point on that, yeah.
How it was just like instant, going through all the worlds, one to the next. I actually didn't play that game, but I did see some video of that and it looked really cool. So
see, this reminds me a lot of like the MCC in Halo 2 when you could with one button toggle back between old school Halo 2 and current Halo 2. Granted, it's a different story arc, but that same seamless switching on the touch of a button. So
right, I mean, but that's more like in the same exact spot. This is you have two characters and then they're on different
whole world. I see the differences, but that's more what it reminded me of is like, oh, we have two things going on in parallel. And granted, in Halo, they were the same thing, but in two different engines. And in here, there are two different stories that are going on in parallel, and then you can toggle between them in real time. So
yeah, which is pretty cool. I think that's a nice thing that they can do because they can code directly for the system. They're not trying to port it anywhere else, maybe PC. I'm not sure. But not to the Xbox or obviously not to Switch. So they can sort of, and I think that there's something to be said about some games being specific to certain consoles, so they can code directly for those and use their capabilities. I think that can be good sometimes. I don't think it's always good to have exclusive, but in this case, I think it could work to their advantage. So sounds good to me.
I still think this is coming to PC because Sony realized that's like a huge revenue stream when they take their exclusives and bring them to PC. So
they'll do it in like a year, and then it'll be like it'll have the DLC or whatever else they put out with it, and it'll be the Ultimate Edition, and they'll charge you $70 on PC.
Yeah, now that's what people have been whining about for the last couple of weeks. Is they're like, Ratchet and Clank, this can only come to PlayStation because of our super fantastic SSD interface to the SSD, and then like they're like, oh no, it's on PC. Oh, how did PC happen to get this? And you don't even need an SSD. You can play it off a hard drive on the PC. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Did not know about that.
Yeah.
I don't think we talked about this between shows, but how Sony came out with they said they surveyed their player base and they said they're fine with PlayStation games being delayed 3 to 5 years before they come out on PC, and that the gaming public was okay with that. I'm like, I think you didn't talk to the right group of people then, because nobody wants to wait 3 to 5 years for your.
You talked to the PlayStation gamers that also had a PC, and they're like, "Well, I already have it, so I can wait 3 years for it to show up on my PC." Yes,
that's like 5 years is like a really generation.
Biased opinion, so.
Yeah, 5 years is like a generation or pretty close to, so that's kind of crazy.
Yep. All right, next story. EA Sports partners with Nike to put NFTs in upcoming titles. Now, I thought that we went through this not once, not twice, not 3 times, maybe between 5 and 10 times between Ubisoft and all these other companies. Nobody wants NFTs, right?
Yeah. I thought this died during COVID. I thought the last bastion of hope for this to go through was in COVID. And I thought I thought the world came to an agreement that this is not a good idea.
Yes. No, I thought so too. But then here comes EA Sports, and they're like, "Hold my beer," and then.
Hey guys, I heard you like the NFTs.
Here's some NFTs. So I put NFTs in your NFTs. Yes.
You can have more NFTs.
Yeah, I don't think this is gonna play out the way they think it is, and I think that like some executive there was sleeping and missed the whole like, hey, nobody likes NFTs. We shouldn't do
What
this.
company just did that kind of recently? Game company. Somebody did that. Like
Ubisoft was trying to, and then they backed out.
Yeah.
And then there was one of those Southern European developers that had something huge planned, and they backed it out. Like, no one that started down this path has been like, carry on. Like, they've all backed out at some point.
Even the metaverse that was supposedly out there, which was 110% all NFTs, has collapsed and died. So like the world built for NFTs stopped. This isn't a good idea. And you know what my fear in reading this is, that the first game that they're going to probably try to put it into is probably NCAA football. NCAA football comes back, because they want to have to pay all the name and likeness deals to all the college kids. And now you're going to have to NFT. I know they're going to. They're going to be paying them.
So you're saying that's how they're going to afford paying them?
They're going to be able to generate additional revenue within the game by doing NFTs of, school logos on, different things and stuff like that, and players' likenesses. And I'm like, this is just such a bad idea.
No. Yeah.
I remember when those first came out, and I had friends who were getting into it, and I just kind of went, I don't know. I just stayed back.
I'm glad I understood cryptocurrency. Like, that made sense. Like, that was something you could be, that was tangible. But someone taking art and being like, no, this is worth something. It's like, no, only because you told me it was worth something. Like,
well, that's everything.
Yeah. Well, cryptocurrency at least had some amount of CPU processing that it took to generate and to get that coin.
Proof of work and
like I've never bought cryptocurrency, but I got a couple grand worth of it that I mined back in the day before it became unprofitable to mine. So
sorry, Sullivan, what were you saying?
I was just gonna say, like, from an artist standpoint, NFTs of being able to track your work and making sure it's not being used elsewhere is, I understand using an NFT for that purpose, but not an NFT to continually generate money for yourself. Like,
so as a screenshotting an NFT and using
that's what I'm saying. Like, as a rights management, like if you're an artist that you paint a picture, or you do some kind of computer generated graphic, and you just want to make sure that all of a sudden Budweiser's not using that on some advertisement or something like that. That
like the technology
you have the ability to track it and say, no, listen, that was mine. You don't have the rights to use that.
Hey, ChatGPT, generate me a Mona Lisa that's not Mona Lisa. Yeah. See, this is what's coming.
Right. So, I mean, it's just like, I understand where the concept of an NFT started, but it got completely blown out. And especially when they're nickel and diming you and selling you products within a game to,
the NFT is yours to keep, but then you bought this thing in the game and you're like, but that NFT is worthless. Like,
So it's a weird turn that it took, and I don't like where it is, and it doesn't belong in gaming. I don't think is my final opinion.
Agreed.
Next story.
I guess this one would be mine. Let's go.
Glad you're so prepared.
I was gonna take the EA one. E3 killed E3, said Summer Game Fest Geoff Keighley. Apparently he came out. Did I mess that name up too? Is that
no? Hit's the one that messes up. He calls him Jeff Knightley, but he is Geoff Keighley. Yes, yeah.
I guess apparently he came back and claims that SGF is responsible for the death of E3, the Entertainment Software Association, seemingly defunct but once very popular annual gaming expo. I think the E3 sort of killed itself in a way, Keighley says. What do you think? I mean, do you think E3 killed itself, Derek? You're the big E3 guy.
I just this
When they
wasn't
let
Jeff
the when
Keighley's doing. Jeff Keighley does not have enough power to kill E3. I think E3 changing scope, like they changed scope that year to let in the shit badges of normies. Like we didn't need normies. Like E3 was fine. We had media, we had buyers, we had everyone else, and the show was fine. And it was the greatest spectacle in the history of gaming. Every year it was epic. Like companies spent millions of dollars. I remember watching a who was it? It was Activision concert out at the Staples Center, and they had Deadmau5 and they had the Foo Fighters and Tony Hawk was skateboarding in there. It was a $35 million concert for a bunch of gaming nerds, and that's what E3 was all about. And then all of a sudden, people started changing things. People didn't want to go. So I'm going to do my own thing. And then EA Play, which eventually became EA Access. And then Sony did their own thing. Then Microsoft brought their stuff to their studio or their venue there. But it was glorious. It was beautiful. I don't have any other words for it. It was the most fantastic thing you've ever seen. It was like if Santa Claus was doing cocaine and boning strippers, and you were just like, this is fantastic. And like,
that sounds great.
I knew you'd like it. Yes. Yeah. So it was the pinnacle of gaming. And then it wasn't Jeff Keighley.
Can I not go to that, please?
Yeah, this was
poor childhood is completely ruined.
This really was their own doing, where they tried to step things up and they tried to be more inclusive of gamers and not just the industry. And I think that's really what fucked things up, because people in the industry went there, and instead of walking in and knowing you had an appointment at 10 o'clock and you're like, well, I know I have a 10 o'clock appointment, so I can actually schedule it for 10, even though the doors open at 10, because I can walk there. And then we let in these normies, and doors open, people are running, people are pushing each other. Like the Nintendo booth became useless because every Nintendo fanboy was there. So yeah, it's kind of is their own fault for opening it up to the Gen Pop, because Gen Pop doesn't deserve E3. It's industry. You have to spend money to create a website and become respected in the industry to get invited. Gen Pop wasn't going to Pactor's party, I'll tell you that. So that's my opinion. They did kill themselves. So yeah.
Was it part greed for ticket sales and things like that?
I think it was. Yeah, they were trying to backfill because one or two of their vendors had left, EA and eventually Sony, and they're like, well, we need to backfill that money we're losing, and like, let's let in Gen Pop. But the general population ruins shit. Like, there's a reason why they weren't ever allowed. Like, that's what your consumer gaming shows are for, like PAX East. Yeah, it should never have been part of an industry show, and they kind of fucked themselves over greed. So, yeah, fuck them.
I mean, I obviously never was able to go, but just from the outside looking in, the things you said sound right. And I feel like, yes, it was an industry show. It was for people who are going to be making these games or buying these games in mass, or, you know, they want to see what's out there so they know what to order. They know what, you know, all sorts of stuff like that. So it didn't seem like it should be a public show, really. So I agree with that. But I think, yeah, it was the letting the people in. I think it was streaming getting big where they don't really need to be there anymore. They can just stream it all online.
Yeah, you didn't have to read a review. Like, you could have watched it. Yeah, I got you.
And just streaming it, and you can make a gorgeous video for way less of the cost than renting a booth and all that. And if you're just going to be, even if it was just the industry people, if it's just going to be selling to them, it's a very small amount of people that you need to sell to there. You can sell to a lot more people with videos. Obviously, it's for the industry, so you're still going to be selling to those people. But it just, I feel like the streaming made it so it was much cheaper to do, and people just stopped wanting to spend all that money to be at E3. And then also COVID. I mean, that was kind of the nail there, I think, where no one could go. And then that was for 2 or 3 years, and then you get used to not having to go and spend that money, and you find other ways, and you just realize that it was just a bunch of money you were spending for not a whole lot of kickback.
Well, see, for us, it was, we were not making any money, and I still felt it worthwhile to put out that spend. So like, we were probably paying for Tiff and I to go probably $4 to $5 grand each year with like a net zero income from the show, but it was, to me, that was worth it for the fun.
Yeah, I meant more the people that were making the content and having to buy the booths. It was cheap for them just to put up videos than to buy booths.
Yeah. But for media folks, like, sure, there's media outlets that do make money. And we were kind of the exception to the rule, but we had enough things that I felt like we were getting for free, that, or the invites that we were getting, that made it worthwhile to put that out of pocket spend. But yeah, it was definitely E3's fault. So, yeah. All right.
Yep. Fuck E3.
No, not fuck E3. I want E3 to come back. Next story.
Xbox Game Showcase. None of the first party trailers would be full CG. Microsoft announced last month it would be holding an Xbox Game Showcase this month, not E3, just a showcase, immediately followed by a Starfield Direct focused exclusively on Bethesda Game Studios' upcoming RPG. So they were poking fun, basically, at Sony, saying, hey, all your stuff with CG trailers. There was a little gameplay. None of our first-party games will be shown, and the show will be full CG trailers. Everything is either in-game footage and engine footage, or in-game footage with some cinematics. Each of our trailers will be labeled so it's hopefully clear for our fans. So I thought that was kind of a fun poke at Sony. I mean, they've poked at Xbox in the past, of course, with the whole, here's how you share discs. You hand it to your neighbor, and then that's how you share discs, and the end. And they did that the day of, which, it's clever. I'll give them that. So I think it's fair game for them to saying that. But it also, I think it's important because showing just full CG trailers, it makes it feel like the games are a lot further away, and like they don't know what they're doing with it yet. What's the gameplay going to be like? Maybe they only have it like
we don't know
quarter done, and they're showing these trailers for things that aren't going to be out for 3 or 4 years. I mean, not always. Obviously, Spider-Man's out this fall, but a lot of this stuff could just be years and years away, and they have to show something, so they mock up something, and by the time it comes out, it's nothing like
nothing like the final product.
So that's what excites me about Xbox saying this, because I'm expecting some Fable news, and I'm expecting to see some more Fable. And if they're saying it's not going to be full CG, maybe Fable's a little closer than like the 4 years people were expecting it to be. So
if they show Fable,
we see some good play, or at least some good cutscenes and stuff like that with in-game engine. I'm interested. I'm definitely looking forward to that. So
what's the game that I forget the name. It begins with an A, maybe. It was kind of one of their bigger games. It's going to be coming out soon. I remember like a green font. It's supposed to be coming out. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But there were a couple big games they were talking about going to be at the Xbox One. So besides Starfield and hopefully Fable, I'm a huge Fable fan. I was disappointed by Fable 3 somewhat, and I'm hoping to return to form. Although,
wasn't Fable Heroes your favorite game?
Oh, right. Fable Heroes. That's the one that I played 500 hours of. I forgot about that one. But yeah, I'm a little sad that Lionhead isn't going to be the developer, although maybe I don't know, maybe they hired some people from Lionhead. Don't really know. Huh? But I'm excited for that one too.
Nice. All right. Next story. All right. Riot threatens to cancel a League of Legends esports season after a player revolt. So this comes from basically the league pros were like, we don't like what's going on with the minor league shit. Like, you got to take care of these guys too. And Riot was like, no, we don't. And then all of these pro players were like, fuck this. We're walking out. We're not doing your thing. And then Riot was like, hey, we're your source of income. fuck you. Maybe we'll just cancel this whole thing and you don't even get a season. And yeah, where's your income coming from now, bitches? And this was one of those weird ass standoffs between Riot and their made up famous people that have no real practical skills except for playing a video game. And they're like, yeah, we'll call you on it. So I good on Riot for this. Like, these guys have no transferable skills at all in the real world. The second League of Legends goes away, these guys are your newest wave of like fucking I'm not sure what the right PC word is nowadays for
let's not put any disparaging jobs out there. But.
Yeah. I was trying to think of people that ride trains that jumped on them, or no, hobos is not okay, Selden. We can't say that anymore.
We can't say hobos anymore?
No. But so
this
Riot,
is what I wish.
Riot called these assholes on this. So I'll good on them. These guys have no living except for the fact that they play a Riot game. So fuck them, right? I don't know.
This is
don't
where
bite
I
the
wish,
hand that feeds you.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely. It's almost like they went in with like thinking that they had union rights, and they don't have union rights as a player base in a league.
They don't.
That's a virtual sports league. And it kind of bit them in the ass. Now, I'm not saying that these guys have no skills. I mean, they could probably transfer it over to some other game if they could find the right niche. And there is some entertainment value to watching their live streams and stuff like that. And I'm not taking that away from them as streamers and stuff like that. They could probably move into something else. This is where Hit would love to have this conversation with you, I'm sure, right now. But you got to be careful. It's a very thin line of what your entitlements actually are in real life when you come to it. So it sounds like they're getting bit. So whoops.
Yeah, no, I just don't like. All these guys are coasting along on someone else's hard work. I'm ready for streaming of games to be done. I'm ready for all of these things.
Yeah, you're gonna be waiting for a while though, man.
These people don't deserve shit. Like,
what about like MLG back in the day? That's kind of
MLG was different. It wasn't some rando playing some game, and then you liked how she looked, so you gave her fucking money and kudos, or some handsome guy that people are throwing money at that you like him and they're giving him some kudos. MLG was a sport. It was so different than watching these trash streamers nowadays.
So this is more just about personalities and about looks and things than actual skill.
I believe so. Like, you look at like a piece of shit like Dr. Disrespect. That guy probably deserves to get $2 a year. And people fucking suck him off like it's 8 Ways to Sunday. Like, fuck that guy. He's a piece of shit. Subhuman, cheating asshole.
I'm not a Dr. Disrespect fan, but there are streamers that I do enjoy. There's a bunch of guys out there that I like to watch, because it's not all about watching them stream and play a game. It's the entertainment value that they offer. There's guys that are out there that are very fucking funny and very entertaining to watch.
I'd much rather watch something on Apple TV or fucking a real show, like traditional media, not puss media. I'm sorry. I can't follow this.
I'm kind of in between. I mean, I understand what Selden's saying. Like, it does matter personality wise. Are they entertaining? It doesn't have to be a complete skill thing. MLG, you watch for the guys who are getting the headshots and racking up the kills in Halo or what have you. In this case, it's a little bit different. The YouTube stuff I watch is mostly just people who I like them. I mean, I like the topics, but it doesn't have to be gaming. It doesn't have to be they're good at something necessarily. It's just, am I entertained? And there are shows on Apple TV and all that stuff to watch too, but you run out of those, and maybe there's something else you want to watch that's just a person. But yeah, I mean, in this case, it sounds like they're just kind of getting bitchy about things, and they think they want to control Riot, and Riot's like, see ya.
Riot's like, we make billions of dollars. Like, you're just some schmuck. So it's good that they've seen that now this is possible, where they're just like, yeah, we'll shut your shit down. We don't care. So, fuck them. All right, last story.
The MetaQuest 3 is a $499 mixed reality headset with full color pass-through. More details have come out about the MetaQuest 3 from our good old buddy Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg, you had an error to Zuckerberg?
He's such a douche.
That is looking cheap now.
But yeah, this is coming in at a super good
cheap.
price point compared to what Apple
Really
just
cheap.
recently announced today. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a second. But a lot of quality improvements. Yeah, I didn't see it put on there. I forgot to put it. So, but a lot of interesting details. Good upgrades coming to the MetaQuest 3. Coming out at $500, a little bit more than the MetaQuest 2, but the MetaQuest 2 is expecting a slash in price coming down. And the MetaQuest 3 is going to come out at about the $500 price point. So I think it's hitting the right price point for this unit.
Not 5x this?
Not 5 times this. And as I said, I mean, they're the full color pass through is great. They may get like a patent lawsuit from some other company because they have a full color pass through also coming out at $2,500.
$3,500?
$3,500?
Isn't it $3,500?
Yeah.
3,500. Oh, I'm sorry. I undersold it by 1,000. I'm sorry.
You made it cheap.
But the graphical upgrades look like they're coming out really nice on the MetaQuest 3. Looks like they're bringing in the Qualcomm processors to it. I think is what I heard. So it's looking like it's a good upgrade from the 2. So they got a good player base already. And I think they've really perfected they're starting to really perfect the low end of the VR platform to bringing it up. So
what's the high end, Selden?
What's the high end? Well, the high end would be one that was recently announced as of today. By the time this show came out, it would probably be a week. But let's see, what did we say?
No, this show will be out within the week.
That was a sick burn there.
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
I'm pulling it up on my phone real quick. Sorry, but haven't.
Shadow just put a link in chat.
Oh, did he?
Or link in the outline. Yeah.
But Apple looks like they announced the Vision Pro AR headset for triple Meta's top line price. This is more than triple of the $500 one we're just talking about.
Yeah.
Coming in at $3,500. As we were watching I was watching the trailer as we began the show. Nothing really out of current VR specs is being put out by what they put out in their showcase. Nothing new or innovative except for you can see the person's eyeballs through these.
Yes, there's an outward facing screen to show you their eyes.
Facing screen. So, which really isn't, everything was like in an Instagram square that they were showing, which I was surprised. Like when you're watching a movie, you would want to watch it in, the full length. And, if you're watching videos or making videos, it's like everything they showed in the trailer was, Instagram boxed, and most people are used to the whole landscape portfolio now. So maybe it's just what they were putting up there for the showcase, but nothing of that unit really was awe-inspiring to me. And I'm like, $3,500 is really expensive for not anything new that's not already existing out there.
Yeah, so. The price was a little high. We can all agree, right?
Yeah.
Double the cost on MacBook? Yes.
But it is an Apple product. It is an Apple product.
They come at a premium price.
And they come at a premium price. And there's a huge Apple fan base, especially only in America, that will pay anything as long as it's got that Apple logo on it. So this will probably...
that means that the cachet achieved by that logo is something you don't even know. Well, you actually don't know.
No.
This is why people throw change to you when you're walking down the street when they see you on your Android phone. But
if in typical Apple fashion, I expect the headset to sell for $3,500. They'll probably sell an accessory stand that you could just put it on so it charges. That'll probably be like what, $1,250?
Could be, yeah. Yep.
Maybe a charging cable Well, that'll probably be proprietary, so we'll have to probably charge like $500-$600 for
This is
the
Lightning
cable.
2.
Maybe it blows you. Who knows? So yeah.
Oh, wow, man.
Yeah.
Wait, only $3,500? Okay, I'm in.
So I do think this is exciting. I think the price point is a little bit wrong. Maybe 1,500 I think would have been the right price point, but
still though, like, why? I mean, it looks cool, I guess, but if you're 7 times the Meta 3, I don't get it.
Like, that's why I picked 1,500. Like, I felt like
I mean, why is it worth that? Well, what's special about it that makes it more special than the Meta 3? Which I also
AR stuff.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
So Meta's only VR.
I thought it was
the Meta's going to be a mixed reality also. Yeah. It's going to be an augmented plus regular.
So it has
front-facing cameras
on the front. So
it's full color pass-through and everything like that. So it's going to have the same functionality for...
You can't see your eyes, though.
Oh, that's true.
No. Yeah, no one outside knows you're looking
googly eyes on it.
That's worth $3,000 to you, then. Okay. I just, is it even? There's no controllers, are there? No,
it's all hand tracking and eye tracking.
You can do the pinch, snap to be a click, and
yeah. I mean, this is definitely the future, but I would say most people are going to wait about 5 years until it's down to about 500 and then jump in.
Right. But I also think that Apple's not going for the strictly gaming market. I think they're going for more of the business end as well. And I think there are other augmented reality VR headsets that are more business oriented that are at the higher price points. I just don't think that you're selling this at $3,500 to General Joe Schmo gamer that wants to play. So
even Microsoft, what was their HoloLens?
Yeah.
HoloLens was
RIP.
$1,500 and it was too expensive for the market. So this is like 2x plus. And
I remember that demo. I loved that where they were doing the Minecraft on the table.
Oh yes,
that looked so cool.
Yes, yep.
And so then nothing.
We'll see what happens, but
yeah, ahead of their time.
Yep. All right. Well, that wraps up gaming news. So if any of your stories you want to talk about next week, give us a call, 773-527-2961, or email us at podcast@tooledplay.com. You can also comment on this thread in the Tool Play homepage. And sponsors, if we have them, we don't. So we won't talk about them right now. But if you want to sponsor us, podcast@tooledplay.com or 773-527-2961. Twitter us up. You can find everything Tooled Play related at twitter.com/tooledplay. Everything podcast related is at twitter.com/still_got_game. Facebook the fuck out of us. Facebook.com/tooledplay. We also have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/tooledplay. That is like your on demand of Tooled Play content. So whether it's this show, whether it's quick hits, Tiff's amateur interviews, Selden's special show, any of those things are all on our YouTube channel. So youtube.com/tooledplay. Go there, subscribe, and see what it's like shooting a show from below center, up a leg. Like, no one even knows what that's like, except maybe one guy. Please rate and review the podcast on iTunes. Give us 5 stars. If you have an extra 5 seconds, write a nice review like, "Oh, D-Smooth, your mini man bangs look good," or "Sultan, you should have buffed out the Chrome Dome more," or "Shadow, where's your lighting coming from?" No one knows. So these are the questions that people will throw in their comments. We have a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/still_got_game. That's twitch.tv/still_got_game. That's one of the many places we broadcast each week. So go there and follow our Twitch channel. Like, we started over once we bailed on the Tool to Play channel so that we can multi-stream. But we do need many more viewers there. So please go there, follow, and subscribe. Also, leave us a review on iTunes. Come on, please. We're going to double back on this. Like, please write something nice and give us a 5-star review. Like, Like we just can't keep going on like this. So please do that. It helps promote us up the iTunes podcast ladder. So please go there. We know you're all on iTunes. There's like 1% of the US population that's on Android. They're mostly an overseas brand. But here in the US, everyone wants the cachet of an iPhone. You don't want to be seen as like the poor friend. So please.
Selden.
Shadow just he put it out there on Front Street. So yeah. You don't want to be seen as the Selden of fans. So
I love my Pixel.
And make sure if you do a rate, also actually write something so it'll get counted.
Yeah, exactly. We have a Discord channel. That's discord.me/stillgotgame. That's discord.me/stillgotgame. All the hosts are in there all the time. Some of them probably too busy to respond to people, even their own friends or co-hosts. But there's other people that seem to have nothing to do, and they just will respond all day long. And those people are the ones you can interact with, and they are hosts of this show. So discord.me/stillgotgame, join in and hang out with our hosts and chit chat with them, and you will not be disappointed. So let's move on to our own personal shit. Selden, what are you pimping this week, and what do you want to put out there on Front Street for our folks?
Well, first off, you can find me on any of my socials at linktree/Selden007. You got all my links, all my socials out there. Go ahead and check it out. You can get links to my Instagram, my Facebook, my Strava. I don't even know what else. But I am going to put a new link out there this week. I'm going to be linking for Strava is the hiking, running, biking app that it's more of a social platform where you can compare your runs to other people and have contests and things like that. So.
Is this like outside things?
Yes, outside the great
I'm
outdoors.
sure this probably, the Venn diagram probably overlaps with 0.5% of our audience. But yeah, for those of you guys that accidentally got high when you were outside and then did something athletic, overlap with Selden on Strava. Go ahead.
But other than that, I am going to be putting up a link. I'm going to be putting a link out to breast cancer survivors, some charity that I'm going to pick up and put out there. But seeing as June is Cancer Survivor Month, I would highly recommend, if you have the ability to spend some time, money, or donation of time or money to any kind of organization out there that's helping strive towards cancer survivors and getting through and helping with the research that's going on with cancer research and stuff like that. So please consider that. I personally have somebody very close to me that is a survivor, and it would be it's just a great thing to give back to the community that helped us through our trying times. So please consider donating. How about you, Shadow?
So you can reach me right now. I'll just shoot out my Twitter that I have. It's at Brian Likes Games. Brian with an I, likes games, all one word. So
right.
If you want to,
Brian with the I is the right spelling. The other one is not Brian. Yes, yeah. Okay, yeah.
The correct
Savages.
spelling of Brian. One I.
Likes games. How many eyes can you fit in Brian?
So you can find me. You can tweet at me there if you want to. For now. I always liked, I pimped last week, I'll pimp again. Extra Life, which is it's gaming for kids, basically. extra-life.org. This year the game day is November 4th, 2023. You can sign up to game and then get donations for your 24-hour gaming session. You can just donate to people who are gaming. Give whatever you can. It's for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. One of my relatives who is a teen just got diagnosed with scleroderma, and so that's one of the things that I'm sure they treat there. So I'm always going to pimp that forever, and it has to do with gaming as well, so it's perfect. So
nice.
That's my pimp for today.
Yeah. So it's not Brian Likes Hams, because that's what I originally typed in. Is Brian Likes Hams?
No. I don't like hams so much. As games, but
it's Brian Likes Games.
I like brisket, but that one was taken, so it's games.
Nice. Well, I, on the other hand, all of my socials and all the show socials are on Linktree/Derek Nolan. That's linktr.ee/Derek Nolan. I know that perhaps Selden has overlooked what he mentioned on the show in the past, but I am going to throw a bone in Selden's direction this month and all month long for all his cancer fundraisers, because this is it's an important thing, and this is something that's been going on for years and years and years, and no one has been able to kind of get that like silver bullet, so to speak, that nails like where the fuck this comes from or why it keeps affecting people of all ages, sexes, generations. And I really think this is where you should direct your shekels this month. No offense, Shadow, but we'll pull you in next month. But yeah, this month is definitely let's banish cancer, because we all have someone in our lives like granted, like I have diabetics in my family, I have all these other things, juvenile diabetes, but the cancer is something that seems to have affected everyone in every family. Someone in that family tree has been affected by this. So let's fucking try to bang this out and get rid of it. So please direct your funds there, and we'll see what happens. But we have plenty of smart brains in the research world, and unfortunately, money is what it takes to kind of do this science and figure things out. So yeah, like if I can ask you for something, send your money that way. I would rather get nothing for the show, which I do, and have you send your money the way of research, so that we can just be done with this and stop having this effect from kids with leukemia to women with breast cancer to you name it. This is always in the cultural zeitgeist, and we wish it wouldn't be. So please.
Sure.
All right.
One of the things it's not one of the things not a charity, but I just want to mention, because of Pride Month, that to pimp out the trevorproject.org, which is for
good choice,
supporting LGBTQ youth having issues. You need somebody to talk to, where you can reach a counselor there at any time. And just wanted to mention that.
No, that's a good point as well. And I should have probably not overlooked that, having family members in that category. So yes, yeah. All right. Well, before we wrap up, I want to remind you all, you can join us each and every Monday night at 5 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific at youtube.com/tool2play, facebook.com/tool2play, and twitch.tv/still_got_game. And on that, why don't we wrap this? Sure, we took 2 weeks off, but fuck it. Episode up. I'm Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
I am Chris Selden 007 Selden.
I am Brian Shadow Emmerich.
And please comment if you want Selden to use that voice every week. All show.